and picturesque rock formations present a peaceful tapestry against which a dramatic struggle for survival takes place. Herds of wild horses grazing on the scant rangeland of Wyoming's Red Desert fight starvation and that predatory creature man, ready at all times with the constricting rope and the confining corral. But struggle is also potential within the herd itself. Competition for leadership and for possession of the mares results in an epic battle which brings together two wild stallions in a contest for supremacy as old as the earth itself. A Palomino and a black meet in deadly combat. Both stallions come from a long line of fighting ancestors, equine stalwarts toughened by years of ranging the wasteland. The Palomino scores, but Blackie comes back with plenty of rear guard action. Whistling with rage, they spar for an opening. All is fair in this free-for-all, and slashing teeth rip tough hide, while a hidden nemesis peers from a camouflaged post. Now the Palomino brings up the heavy gun. The battle is really joined. Command of the herd is at stake, and one or the other will rule supreme. Right now, Pal seems to have the upper hand. This is an encounter of champions. Jealousy stirs deep in their fighting hearts, and there'll be no quarter given and no end to the conflict short of victory. Blackie surrenders, and Pal trumpets his triumph. Proud is the Palomino in his hour of victory. He reigns as king of the herd and sets off proudly for a secret rendezvous with the string of admiring mares in his train. But Frank Robbins, king of the wild horse wranglers, sets out for his camp. At the camp, deep in the wilds of the Red Desert, Robbins and his hands fortify themselves with some mouth-watering grub at the chuck wagon. Watermelon goes mighty well in this dry land, but there's an end to appetite, and with the coming of night, a touch of cowboy harmony before sleep. First steps in setting the trap, holes for railroad tie fence posts with sagebrush camouflage to deceive the wily Mustang, whose keen sense of smell and suspicious nature make him wary of man-made lures. Robbins watched wild horses all his life and learned to use a drag to make a trail, which the herd would follow to the entrance of the trap. A following horse is ridden in the track, leaving his hoof marks and scent to decoy the herd. Wild horses are pests on the open range, destroying fodder needed for beef cattle and for sheep. This is a roundup with a modern twist. Today's spurless cowhand mounts his Sky Wrangler, an aerial steed that can outrun the swiftest Mustang. Robbins and his pilots, who train horses for the saddle, for dude ranches, and for rodeos, have trapped more horses by plane than any of their competitors. His experienced flyer is wise in the ways of horseflesh, the ideal combination. Scanning the desert for a herd, the pilot circles father and son rocks and roams the limitless sky. This is one of man's newest roundup wrinkles, and one the wild stallion hasn't learned to combat. The pilot searches the desert wastes and in the depths of this rugged terrain locates a few strays from the main herd. Now starts the roundup. In this manner, the Sky Wrangler starts the strays moving, heading each batch towards a central point. The roundups net thousands of wild horses, descendants of the animals brought here in the 16th century by Cortez and De Soto. The Indians had no horses until the Spanish strays appeared on our plains around 1680. The strange four-footed animals frightened the Indians at first, but growing bolder and resentful of the encroaching white man, the Indians began raiding the corrals. Then runaway horses from both Spanish and Indian owners formed herds moving ever westward, the forerunners of today's wild groups, like these struggling to escape capture. The horses begin to bunch up, moving steadily towards the cut leading to the hidden corral. Our Sky Wrangler maneuvers with extreme care, never sweeping directly over their heads, scaring and scattering the string. The various small groups are entering the wings of the trap, expertly nudged by the swooping plane to form a larger herd. The dreaded scent of man halts them momentarily. The pilot's task is almost finished as the driven herd in wild flight rushes headlong toward the corral and an end of freedom. With a handful of sand, Robbins tests wind direction, and the riders get ready to approach the herd from downwind, so they'll be undetected by the keen nostrils of the wild mustangs. And now it's the fleet cow pony that takes over from the Sky Wrangler and rides herd on the Red Desert strays. Now begins the tedious and dangerous battle of man and horse against wild mustangs who've never before known the meaning of restraint. The Wranglers charge like wild Indians. The panic-stricken horses try madly to escape as the riders work them expertly into the first corral. Some make a desperate break, unwilling to give up the fight, the mad struggle that is their heritage. Turning madly in his tracks, one stallion breaks through the heavy cable of the fence. The nimble colts, fleet as deer, streak along with the captured herd. They're sturdy little animals, inheriting the strength developed by their parents in years of hard desert life. Sometimes the sure-footed animals tumble down a steep ledge as the reckless charge toward the corral continues, with the riders in hot pursuit. Another chapter in the desert conflict nears an end. The Wranglers close in on the wild mustangs, now safely in the corral. Life on the open range is over. The corral is built without corners, and the puzzled horses looking for an opening circle it vainly. In addition to the wooden corral, a natural wall of adobe is used to form part of the fencing. Unwilling to give up the struggle, the horses charge desperately up the crumbling slope. The adobe walls of the corral are impossible for a man to climb, but the nimble wild mustangs scale the sides like mountain goats. The futile attempt ends for some, and they resign themselves to the inevitable. The more stubborn ones continue to try for escape from man and his hated trap. It's a losing fight, and some of them realize it, but there are others. His pals witness his defeat. The action continues as the riders rope his legs. Roping a wild horse around the neck would strangle him during his frantic effort.